can offer you, you learn something new in this little spiel. So I'm going to talk for about 15-20 minutes and then there should be plenty of time for questions if you have them. And you're also welcome to try to poke me in the chat and interrupt me, and I'll try to pay attention to that too. So bear with me while I share my screen. All right. So my name is Zach Havekost. I work specifically at the Olympia Library downtown. I also work at our newish location on the west side of town in the Capitol Mall. I've been here for about 11 years and mostly focusing on adult services with some stuff for youth thrown in as well. So that's my background here. So I'm going to kind of give you like an overview of Timberland Regional Library as a whole, and then I'll kind of zero in on some specific resources that might be of more interest to you. Just know that what I'm going to talk about here, I'm going to throw a lot of info at you, but it's also just the tip of the iceberg of how you can make use of your library. So you're always welcome to follow up with me or visit your nearest branch and ask follow-up questions there. So TRL, as we call it, we're pretty unique as a library in terms of how much area we serve. We provide services to residents of 5 different counties: Grays Harbor, Mason, Thurston, Lewis, and Pacific, which totals up to 29 branches now with the recent additions of Hawks Prairie and West Olympia. So it's a lot of ground. It's a unique challenge and one that we're continually trying to find new ways to figure out. I should tell you right now, the way I have the screen sharing working is I can't see anything that any of you are doing, so I'm completely blind right now. So my apologies if I miss a prompt. Maybe occasionally I'll check back in.
We'll only occasionally make faces at you.
Okay, great. Beautiful. Well, yeah, we'll have fun then. So one thing to know is, like, if you live or work in our service area or go to school in our service area, you're eligible for a regular library card with us. I know at the fair last week, I met a bunch of people that live up in Pierce County and other places, but since you work down here, you can get a regular card with us and access all of our services that way. So keep that in mind. I did mention West Olympia Library over in the Capitol Mall. This one, along with Hawks Prairie, are open 7 days a week. So if you're in town on Sundays and you need to print or use a computer or just want to find a new book, those libraries exist now. The one in the mall is over on the Total Wine side of things, so you can make use of your errands if it pleases you. I do have to mention one thing that we've done to try to provide services throughout our large geographic area is the recent creation of Anywhere Library. And basically what this is each county at this moment has a gigantic van that is stocked with books and Wi-Fi hotspots, and they set up scheduled visits throughout the more rural parts of our counties and can deliver holds and provide other services there. And that is a continually growing program. So if you happen to live out in a rural area, like we have stops in Rochester and Rainier and a bunch of other places, senior living facilities, more rural schools. So keep that in mind, and you can find information about their schedule at our website. So how to get a library card? We've been trying to make it as easy as possible and remove as many barriers as possible over the years. If you live in our service area and you have a residential address, you're eligible for a full-on regular library card. You just have to show your ID and proof of address. Even if you don't have proof of address or you don't have a residence, we can still get you at least an internet card, which will allow you to access everything online, all of our services in the library. You just can't check out a physical item. But we can work with you to figure out how to meet whatever it is that you need. I should also mention that we've beefed out our mail-out application cards now. If you live far away from a library, or if there's some reason why it's difficult for you to get to one of our libraries, you can sign up for a mail-out card, and we will ship books to you with return envelopes and postage. So if you know someone that lives kind of out in a rural area or has some mobility issues, that is an option too, and we can make that happen pretty easily. Probably, maybe arguably, our most popular service these days is all of the free printing and copying and internet access we provide. All of our libraries have Wi-Fi, which is turned on from 6 a.m. until midnight. So even if the building is closed, if you're in the parking lot close to the building, you can catch a good Wi-Fi signal and use the internet if need be. We provide a ton of free printing and copying. You get $44 worth of free printing every single month. So it's 10 cents a page for black and white, 50 cents a page for color, and every first of the month you get a fresh 44. So you can do free printing if you need to. Before I get to the collection, another odd thing about our hours is that a lot of our libraries, we have what is called expanded access hours. So these are hours when there's no staff in the building, but you can sign up for a special key card and you can key yourself into the building to access holds. There's like some computer stations are open, and this is happening mostly at our smaller, more rural branches where it's a little bit more tenable, but I wouldn't be surprised if it started expanding to the bigger ones too. So if you live like out near McCleary or Elma or some of our other libraries that have EAH, you can sign up for one of those cards, and depending on your work schedule, you can access your holds at the library even if it is technically closed. So the collection. I'm going to pop out of this really quick and see if I can see you. Do we have any questions that I should answer right now before I keep diving through? No? Cool. All right, I'll keep going then. Groovy. All right, so most people think of the library as a place for books, and we still are that. In terms of like comparable library systems in the state, we actually have more of our budget going towards our physical collection than a lot of libraries, so it's still really important to us to have print physical books in the buildings for you to check out. Of course, we also have all kinds of digital items as well. But our collection also includes things like DVDs and Blu-rays and an increasingly number of things, which I'm going to talk about here shortly. A lot of the things people were most excited about when we were chatting at the resource fair last week was Libby, which is basically your portal to free audiobooks, free ebooks, and magazines. So if you're someone that pays for an Audible subscription, you might want to consider exploring Libby and seeing whether or not you actually need to keep paying for that Audible subscription. Because you can basically just download the app on your device. You can also access it through a web browser if need be. But you can just borrow and download ebooks and audiobooks right to your phone and then listen to them without using your data once they've downloaded. And one thing to know, especially if you're someone that lives outside of Thurston County or travels outside of like our service area, is we have agreements with pretty much every library system in the state. So if you will go into one of their libraries, show them your Timberland card, you can get a library card with them. Then you can add that card to your Libby app and you can access all of our collections. And that's one way to get around really long holds lists for really new popular items if you start becoming a power Libby user. Most of the libraries make you go in person, but Snow Isle, you can just get a library card online, so you could just immediately make that happen before I'm done talking today if you wanted to. Also note, like we do still have like a large print collection. We've got these things called playaways, which are handy for people that like audiobooks but don't necessarily want to lug their phone around. The whole book comes on this little tiny cassette sized device that's really light. You just plug your headphones into it if you still have corded headphones and listen to the book right there. And then I have to shout out my favorite, which is Canopy. I'm a big movie person, and Canopy is a streaming service that's got tons of indie movies, classic movies, documentaries. And maybe one of the best things about it is it's got a ton of international movies. So if you're someone that likes to explore beyond our shores in cinema, there's a lot there for you, as well as a bunch of educational kids stuff and great courses and new documentaries. And that's something you can get on as an app, or if you use like a Roku streaming device or Apple's Fire Stick, you can find Canopy on there and stream movies for free from your library. A couple other quick things I want to shout out. We do have page turner kits. If those are basically their book club kits, we call them page turners for a reason that predates me. But if you're someone that wants to run a book group, we've got over 100 different kits and we add new ones every year. They come with about 10 to 12 books in them, so you could get those for a book group that you're trying to host yourself if you like. If you're someone that wants help finding books to read, we do have a personalized picks option on our website where you can kind of fill in some books that you've liked, some authors that you like, even some stuff that you don't like, and then a library staff person will go out and make you a personalized list of suggestions. And then our lucky day items are just, we buy a bunch of extra copies of new items that live outside of the holds list. So brand new books that are really popular that you might be number 418 on hold for. All of our libraries get X number of extra copies that live as lucky day items that you might just stumble across when you come visit us. All right, so I mentioned things. Library of Things is something that's been growing over the last few years, and staff kind of fought tooth and nail to get this kind of stuff added to our collection, and it's really starting to take off. For folks that are looking for like active, like activities to get you out of the house, to get you moving around, this might be a good collection to explore. You can check out birding backpacks, which come with a couple pairs of binoculars, field guides, activities, a Washington State Discover Pass. And so you can use this to just kind of go on your own birding adventure. We have forest exploration versions of that. You can now just straight up check out a Washington Discover Pass if you want to go explore some of the state parks, but you don't want to invest in a Discover Pass. You can just borrow those from the library now. Light therapy lamps are probably one of our most popular items, and now that it's starting to get darker again, if you're someone that struggles with the darkness in the fall and winter, you can check out these lamps, and people speak very highly of how helpful they are for them. There's all kinds of stuff in our library of things. I could really kind of go on and on about it. We also just recently added a home blood pressure monitoring kit. So if you're someone that's dealing with blood pressure issues and trying to keep your levels straight, or just want to know what your blood pressure is without having to go to the doctor, you can borrow one of those from the library as well. I'm popping in for any questions or clarifications so far. Sweet. All right, well, I'm just going to keep running then. But yeah, all kinds of stuff in our library of things. You can get musical instruments from our Tumwater library. They've got like ukuleles, guitars, keyboards. I think they even have a cello and a violin that you can check out and play around with. All kinds of cool stuff in our library of things collection. Okay, so we are not just digital books and physical books. We also subscribe to all kinds of databases, free online resources that are vetted and can be relied upon for good information. And with your library card, you get access to all of these for free. You just need to be able to log in from wherever you're accessing it with your library card number. So the Olympian, every morning that issues paper version of Olympian is available through the library in full like color scanning. It's not like as if you had your own digital subscription to the Olympian, but you can see like the full paper and go through it all on the day that it comes out, if that's something you're interested in. Consumer Reports is great. Most of us probably know it as simply a place to get appliance reviews, and it still is that, and it's still the only almost completely unbiased appliance review place out there. But there's also all kinds of articles on there about money management, fraud awareness, how to get out of debt, how to recognize scams. There's lots of good info on the Consumer Reports database. If you're an amateur genealogist, you get free access to Ancestry. That one, I believe you still have to actually come into the library to use, but you do get free access to that. And then if you're someone that likes to manage your stock portfolios and are into that game, you do get free access to Morningstar as well as Value Line. So if you're an investor or a trader, you can take advantage of those two portfolio mutual funds resources as well. And then got to mention a couple of others. I know a lot of you, if you're interested in lifelong learning opportunities, or if you're trying to get more comfortable with certain software programs that you might use in your work, LinkedIn Learning and Universal Class, there are two free online course options that we provide. Universal Class is kind of styled more like a traditional online learning course. It's broken up into weeks and syllabuses. There's an instructor that you can communicate with, whereas LinkedIn Learning is pretty much entirely video tutorial. It's all self-paced. So depending on your learning style, you might want to favor one more than the other, or kind of see how they complement each other. You might be familiar with LinkedIn Learning under its previous name, lynda.com. But you get free access to that. And if you're looking to get better at making Microsoft Excel spreadsheets, or using Microsoft Word for different templates, or online coding, things like that, there's all kinds of tech and business-oriented courses in LinkedIn Learning, from like beginner all the way to expert. Or if you're just trying to get a refresher, there's like what they call essentials courses, where you can just kind of take a shortened course that just kind of refreshes you on the essentials of Microsoft Excel or QuickBooks, or myriad other opportunities like that. And then Mango is our language learning resource. There's dozens and dozens of languages on there, and for the most popular ones like Spanish, It goes all the way from beginner to travel tips, all the way to like second, third year of college level coursework. So if you're someone that's trying to learn Spanish or Mandarin, or if you're someone that's learning English as a second language, there's also ESL classes on there as well. So a whole lot of stuff that's free for you. And then I should mention, both LinkedIn Learning and Mango have apps. So once you register your library card, you can use both of those on your phone through an app if that's easier for you. All right, I feel like I'm racing through this. It's weird doing this blind. It's been a while since I've done a virtual one of these. But a big part of what I do here, in addition to talking to folks like you, is I help put on events at the library. All of our branches put on events for all ages. I'm mostly focusing on adult events with some of these examples, but we have story times every morning for those of you with little ones. We have all kinds of special events for middle graders and teens. Here at this library with our friends over at the Lacey branch, we're running 2 different book clubs for neurodivergent kids at the Sensory Tool House. So like there's one for younger kids and one for teens. We're doing all kinds of stuff like that. In the adult world, we do all kinds of special author talks and presentations. We recently had Quinita Cobbins-Monica come and talk about the history of Black women and Washington civil rights, which was truly wonderful program. We've done series on aging that involve like long-term care planning, financial planning in that regard, as well as things for like folks that are at-home caregivers for loved ones with dementia and things like that. We recently had a program called 10 Ways to Age in Place that we did with our friends at Lewis Mason Thurston our Area Agency on Aging, that packed our meeting room to the point where we had to turn people away because we were about to break fire code. So apparently there's a lot of interest in aging issues like that, and we try to do a lot about that here as well. Got a shout out listen here because it's a story time we do here for adults. We have a professional audiobook narrator come in and read short stories, and you can attend that here at the library on your lunch break. It's first Fridays during the noon hour, or you can register for Zoom link and listen to it from home. But all of our libraries are trying to do lots of different programmings that both inspires, represents our community, and we love it when we get suggestions. So if you live near a library and there's something you want to see there, you should let us know, and we'll see what we can do to make it happen. Last thing is tech help. A whole lot of what we do at the library is help people on computers and with their devices. Everybody can come into any of our libraries while we're open, and staff can help at least up to a certain point, whether it's printing snafus, backing up things on the cloud, different tech work, but also here at Olympia and then also at the Lacey Library, people can make appointments for one-on-one help, and we can kind of dig a little bit deeper into different things. We do a business, like an entrepreneurship class here, like every few months, and so a lot of those classes that come out of that are just sitting down with someone and digging into one of our wonkier databases that isn't necessarily as user-friendly as one might like. So we can do things like that. We can help you restore files. Whatever the actual staff person knows how to do, we can kind of work on. And then we've got this great program at Olympia called the Teen Tech Tutors, which we've been doing for over a decade. And this is where we bring in teens that are tech savvy and comfortable in looking for community service help. And we kind of train them up a little bit, and then they get paired up with students who are often senior citizens that bring in their devices. They're having trouble with all sorts of things. We've had people bring in old desktop computers, lugging them in, and the teen will help them figure out how to like transfer files to a new computer, things like that. So if you're someone that needs tech help, it's every first and third Friday, drop in at 4:30. It's a lot of fun. We get a lot of repeat students. Or if you're someone that has a teenager in the Olympia area that is comfortable with tech and maybe might benefit from like socializing a little bit with people of other generations, hit us up. I know we're currently looking for some more tutors because we just graduated a few. And then my librarian colleague Aggie writes up a really nice letter of recommendation that the teens can use for college applications and things like that. So keep that in mind if you're in the Olympia area. And then basically how to get more info. Pop into any of our libraries. There's 29 of them. Staff are here and anxious to help you. You can also give us a call. We don't have a single phone number anymore. If you have one of our old, ugly green library cards, That phone number on there doesn't exist anymore, so don't call it. You just call whichever individual branch you want. Or we do have a live chat on our website. If you go to trl.org, you'll see a little red flag thing pop down. And Monday through Saturday, 9 to 5, it's still an actual human staff person. And for as long as that lasts, take advantage of it. And you can also email us. So lots of ways to get in touch with us. And with that email, we can usually get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. So I definitely suggest taking us up on that. Sweet, 11:21. All right, I gave you a lot of information. Any questions or curiosities or misgivings, or if you want to shout out something that you use the library for, you got 13 minutes, and I'm happy to answer any and all questions.
I use Libby all the time. Like, I am an avid audiobook listener, like crazy, always on in the background. And I use it all the time. And one of my favorite things about Libby is you can go in and request books, and they're really good about like getting the books that you request. They don't do them all, but I may be an over requester, but they are so good at buying about buying books that are available to them. I love Libby.
That's really good to know. I didn't mention that, and that's actually impressive on you because you have to be kind of clever to figure out how to do that on Libby. They don't make it easy like they used to. But Libby's kind of an odd thing because like Libby's run by this company called Overdrive, and basically Overdrive negotiates with publishers about what books can be on the platform, and then library systems based on their budget will buy licenses to access them. And so if you're looking through Libby on us and you're looking for a specific book that doesn't show up, it might not necessarily mean that we couldn't get it for you. So Libby has you do this thing called the deep search. There's a little tag button. And if you hit the deep search, it'll pull up what could be possible. And then if you see the book there, then you can tag it on your wish list. But then there's a second step to actually put in a purchase request. It's a little onerous, but once you figure it out, you can kind of manipulate it to work to your advantage. Mm-hmm. So good on you, Grace. Not many people have figured that out now that it's a two-step process instead of a one.
Yeah, it's not as easy as Overdrive was, but yeah.
Yeah, I like to think that Libby or Overdrive did that on purpose to make it easier on libraries because, you know, one of the slippery slopes with Overdrive is that it's deceptively expensive to buy digital licenses. And so I like to think that Overdrive made it hard for patrons to request books to benefit us, but I don't think that that's why they actually did it because it benefits them if we buy more books from them. I'm giving you inside info now, but it is a fascinating way that marketplace works. So yeah, take advantage and get your neighboring library cards because that King County card and that Seattle Public card, they got big pockets and big collections, and it's nice to pilfer them.
I did just try to log in and get a card from Snow Isle Libraries, and it didn't let me. I think because I put the Olympia address. Do you happen to know what I need to say to show that it's like a?
I don't off the top of my head. I have to look at their form, but I remember like it. You should be able to still get a reciprocal card, even putting in your Olympia address. But I can go look at their website real quick while we're on the line.
Maybe that's not what it is. I accept, and it brings me up to my. Unless there's something that I missed. Oh, you know what? I forgot to put my birth year in. I bet that's what it is, which is right at the very top.
Yes, we care about your birth year in the library, for sure. Sweet. Accept. For you. Is there a link, or do we just email in the application? Are you referring, Melvin, to like Snow Isle specifically, or are you talking about Timberland? Could be. Yeah, Snow Isle has it looks like they have a form that you can just fill out and submit. With us, Timberland's RE card option turned into a spam nightmare that we put in place in the wake of the pandemic. So they're in the process of trying to redesign it. If you're trying to get a Timberland library card, the easiest way is to actually go to one of our libraries because you can just make it all happen in the moment. If that's not a palatable option to you and you're really just looking for online access, there is a printable application on our website that you can download, fill out, and then if you use this, now that I say it out loud, it sounds really obnoxious. But if you fill that out, you can then use the email contact on our website. And if you just say, hey, I want a library card and attach that to that email, then we can at least get you an internet code so that you can access all of the digital materials. And so the way you'd find the library card application is if you, on the top of our screen, here, I'll show it again really quick. It's not that painful. But if you go to our website, under the services tab here, you can go to get library card. They used to really hide it and we yelled at them. And so yeah, right here under can I apply online, if you fill out the application and then email it to this AskLib email, then we can at least get you set up with an internet card online as opposed, but if you need to come in and check out books, you'd want to come visit us. But that's the workaround for that. But yeah. Well, sweet, not many questions. But yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I should mention. I flew through that presentation a lot faster because normally I'm talking to people in person. But yeah, keep in mind the free printing. You can get 88 pages in color for free every month, which comes in really handy. You can use that for personal use or home use. We have a lot of homeschool parents and guardians that come in and use it to print off their course materials and things like that. And we of course have, I see a hand raised from, I think that says Jake, maybe?
Yep, that's me. So I had a quick question. I was looking at the website with you as you went online, but the meeting rooms for some places, are there requirements or restrictions on meeting room stuff? I just kind of curious, just generally speaking.
Yeah, totally. Most of our libraries have meeting rooms and they're free for the public to use. Basically, the only real rules to it is you can't be doing anything illegal in there and you can't be doing anything for profit. So if you are selling something or you are doing anything basically that's exchanging money, we'll probably deny your meeting room booking if we notice it. But those are really the only stipulations. You can either call us, you can reserve them right from the website. And basically the main booking rules are you can do 2 advanced bookings per month up to 2 months in advance. So like right now, the furthest you can book out would be November the 17th. So clever meeting room people like kind of set themselves reminders if they're trying to do monthly meetings with folks. But yeah, people come here and do like family visits. We've got book groups that come and meet here. Lots of lawyers meet with clients like from the Capitol here at Olympia specifically. And then most of our meeting rooms have like mounted TVs you could potentially hook up presentations to. So yeah, those pretty great. They're usually pretty in demand. And I would say in addition to the 2 advanced bookings, if you show up on the day and it's free, you can just have it for up to 2 hours as well. So you can often make things happen even outside of your advanced bookings. And of course, if you've got multiple people in your group, it's authenticating based on the email address. So, you could use a different email address and book otherwise. Probably shouldn't tell you that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, recording studios. Grace, wouldn't that be nice? We don't in Timberland. In fact, they just created our own recording studio for the podcast they do at the district, which if you need a new podcast, I guess you could listen to our podcast. And it would be really cool if somehow that could become available to patrons to record things. But at this moment, none of our branches have really the infrastructure for that. And I'm not catching any smells on the wind that they're pushing that. But some libraries do. Some fancy systems do. I think King County and some Seattle public locations have kind of like podcast rooms or something where you can record. Yeah. But we don't at the moment. You would have to make do in our normal meeting rooms. That would be really cool, though. I know when they decided they were going to start this podcast and they created this whole room at our service center, my first thought was, man, that'd be a really nice thing to have available for patrons. So maybe one day. Maybe one day.
Okay, well, I want to say thank you, Zach, for your time. Really appreciate it. And if anybody wants to stay and ask further questions, please feel free to do so. The next online wellness fair is grounding activity at 11:40. And again, we also love your feedback, and I've put a link in the chat. If you would give us your feedback, that would be awesome.
Very cool. Well, thank you so much for letting me take up some of your morning. I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thanks,
Thank
Zach.
you again.
Thanks, sir.
Bye, y'all.